assure him that he would one day be a great writer. Again, it's a beautiful moment in all the ugly. So when Yozo leaves the sanitarium, he says goodbye to Osamu, who says that he will make Yozo's life into a story. And it's the very ending of Ito's rendition that's perhaps the most profound. To properly explain it, I need to give a little bit of setup, a difference between Ito's version and Osamu Dazai's original novel. In the novel, there is the cousin who is briefly mentioned at the beginning of the story. If you'll remember, there's two cousins. One of them threw herself onto him and said that she wants to run away, and Yozo just kind of like shrugged it off. In Ito's version, Yozo got one of the cousins pregnant, and she got into a fight with the other cousin and ended up killing her. So for that, the cousin that he got pregnant was sent to an insane asylum. And after the child was born, Yozo was terrified as it looked just like Takaichi. Now remember, Ito's version is not strictly within the realms of reality. It exists as Yozo's portrayal of what the world is. So it's not that the child is literally the spitting image of the young friend he ended up killing. It's just that that's how Yozo sees it, because his guilt weighs him down. So whenever Yozo is staying at the sanitarium at the end of the story when he meets Osamu, it turns out that that cousin who he had the child with is there with the child. Initially, Yozo just starts seeing these visions of Takaichi and assumes that it's some ghost or apparition he's seen, but then he figures out it's his child with the cousin who got thrown into an asylum. I'm sure that sounds really weird and convoluted, and while it is a little bit, it makes more sense in the story, just trust me. So in Ito's version, whenever Yozo goes to live in the country after he leaves the sanitarium, he takes the cousin and his child with him. So Ito's story ends with Osamu Dazai going out to the countryside to meet his old friend he met in the sanitarium. And whenever Osamu gets there, he finds that Yozo is living in horrific conditions. A rundown house with an old housekeeper that hates him, which again lines up with the ending of the novel. However, in Ito's version, Yozo is also living with the child that looks like the friend he caused the death of, and a wife, I guess you could call it wife, cousin wife, who absolutely hates him. He told me he wouldn't do anything. It's alright, don't say anything. You didn't know enough to distrust others. Yoshiko, as we've established, is far too good for Yozo, and Yozo is only with her just to see how it goes. Yozo remarks at how furious he is at Horiki, that Horiki saw this happening and then took the time to go upstairs and get Yozo, and then bring him down there and quietly show him. However, Yozo also didn't do anything whenever he found out what was going on. There's a sense of hypocrisy with a lot of what Yozo says throughout the story. Not only in the situation we just saw where he got mad at Horiki for doing the same things that he did, but the reason he's afraid of humans is because he's afraid that humanity and personality is just a mask for the deeper machinations and concepts of whatever a people is. But, as we know, Yozo's entire personality is a mask for the deeper people and imaginations that he has. And in the following passages, he barely cares about what happened to Yoshiko. The only thing he does care about is that he feels this experiment of his, or this case study in trust, has been broken. And while he sees that as being a mishap or a tragedy of sorts, it's not like there's any connection that's been broken. It essentially just means that he's lost interest in her. One night whenever he comes home, he finds that Yoshiko has bought several sleeping pills, so he decides to take all of them